Hello everybody and welcome back to Bring Your Own Popcorn, and welcome back to another first time watching video. So first of all, you've probably noticed already, I'm not in the normal place that I record. I'm actually on holiday up in the north of Scotland in a small village called Gardenston. I've been up here for 2 weeks, that's why there's been minimal content on the channel. I've just been chilling out, relaxing on holiday. But I actually leave today. Today is the day I leave, so I've got a fairly long car journey ahead of me in which I want to watch a movie, and I thought it would be a good idea to continue on with the Alien series. If you've been keeping up with the content on the channel, well, it was a while ago now. I think the last one I done was last year, just before Christmas. I think I done Alien Resurrection. So if you were watching those videos, you'll know I've been working my way through the Alien franchise for the first time, and I've done the 4 main films in the franchise, and I wanted to take a little break from going through the franchise in the channel just to try some new content out in the channel. I done my Twilight video a wee while ago just to try some new things, but I'm ready to continue on with the Alien franchise now with Prometheus. I don't know much about this one. I know it's, I think it's a prequel to the first Alien film, which I'm really interested in because out of all the Alien films, I think the first one is my favourite. It's kind of, the first one and Aliens are fairly joint first place in my ranking. I do think I prefer Alien a little bit more. I prefer the horror aspect of that film to the action aspect of Aliens. So I'm really excited to see a prequel to that story. I also know Ridley Scott's back directing this one, which I'm also very excited for, as he done the first one. Other than that, I know very, very little about this movie. So on my car journey back home, I'm going to watch the film, and then when I'm back home, I'm going to review it for you guys. So without further ado, let's get this kicked off and watch Prometheus. In terms of my ranking of the Alien franchise, because it has changed the more I've sat and processed my thoughts on these movies. Because you have to remember, when I do my video on them and I do my review, it is immediately after I'm done watching the film. So I've still not fully processed it. But now with time's passed, it happens with every single movie. You eventually process it and the film goes up in your estimations, it goes down in your estimations, it can stay the same, it can do a lot of different things. So in terms of an updated ranking, in last place would be Alien 3. I would give it about a 5 out of 10. I've still to watch the director's cut. Not sure if I'm going to do it on the channel. Let me know down in the comments if that's something you guys would be interested in. In next place, so third place, is Alien Resurrection for me. I was probably a bit too kind on that film the first time I watched it. Still don't think it deserves quite the hate that it gets. I would give it about a 6 out of 10. Then a massive jump up to Aliens. Absolutely loved Aliens. Probably about an 8 out of 10 movie for me. Don't love it as much as some. I thought the characters were just a little bit less interesting in Aliens. And I thought that the horror aspect of the first Alien film just worked a lot better in terms of tonality for the franchise. And first place, Alien. Alien's just a fantastic horror filmmaking. Horror filmmaking at its finest. I would give it a 9 out of 10. So that's where my ranking of the films are sitting right now. And yeah, we're going to get cracked on with Prometheus. Also, let me really quickly show you where I am on holiday, because I've just realised I've not shown you guys. This is where I've been spending the last 2 weeks. Look how beautiful it is. So, without further ado, let's get cracked on and watch Prometheus. So I have now watched Prometheus. As I said, I was really excited for this one, simply because it was a prequel film. I love prequel films when they're done well. When they really delve into the backstory and the origins. I love all that stuff. I was really excited to see the origin of the alien, of the xenomorph. I was really excited to see that. And I was also really excited that Ridley Scott was directing this one, because he directed the first Alien film. I think his direction in that movie is just exceptional. And sadly, I am greatly disappointed with this film. The story was easily the place where I had the most problems with this movie. I've never seen a film so pretentious be about so little. This film thinks it's far more important than it actually is. The entirety of the runtime is either characters running about a spaceship or running about a planet, and then running about a spaceship again, and then running about a planet. There were some nice little sequences hidden amongst that stuff, but mostly it was just either running about a planet talking or running about a spaceship talking. The film was incredibly boring. I felt the film had so little story to tell, and most of it was filled with just boring filler. As I said, whilst I was extremely excited to see the origins of the xenomorph, I was very, very disappointed to see that this film basically goes in its own direction and tells its own story. It doesn't really serve as a kind of origin-esque movie, apart from the last kind of 10 minutes. I won't spoil what happens, but the last kind of 10 minutes, it does delve slightly into it, but it just brushes it. It hardly goes into it at all with much detail. The movie, for a majority of its runtime, is its own thing. It's its own movie. Hardly connected to the Alien franchise at all. If someone had shown me this film and not told me it was an Alien movie, by the end of it I thought it would just be your standard, average sci-fi flick. I sadly couldn't connect to any of the characters. Again, I think I'll put that down to bad writing. As much as this film wanted me to connect with these characters, to enjoy my time with these characters, to have sympathy for these characters in some scenes, I just couldn't care less. There were some nice sequences in the movie. I'll give the movie that. There were some really cool action sequences, some cool tense sequences. Like, for example, there's a whole sequence when the main character is trying to get the alien out of her stomach. That scene is so tense, so great in my opinion. But whenever there was a cool sequence like that, the next sequence, or the next few sequences after that, would just be so boring. All the characters would be doing would be walking around talking. And even then, what they were talking about is not interesting at all, or serves any real purpose to the story. Moving away from the story, I'll quickly talk about the direction, which gets a massive thumbs up from me. In terms of how this film looks, I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. There were a couple of rocky CGI moments. There was this guy who was obviously a young actor, but they CGI'd him to look old, and it doesn't look great. But that's honestly the only bad piece of CGI in this movie. As a whole, the film looks fantastic. The cinematography is just beautiful, and the character and set designs are so cool. I think Ridley Scott done a fantastic job at directing this film. I think it looks gorgeous. I thought the soundtrack was nice too. It had this nice little motif that would play. I absolutely loved that. I just wish that this film had a good storyline to accompany this fantastic direction, and if it did, it could have been a near perfect movie. In terms of performances, I thought the performances were actually pretty good. I thought Michael Fassbender played his android character brilliantly. He plays it in this kind of way where you don't really know if he's good or evil throughout the full film, and yeah, it's just a fantastic aspect of his character, and he plays it really well. Idris Elba is also an absolute joy to watch on screen, as well as our main character, played by Noomi Rapace, I don't really know how you pronounce her name. She was fantastic. Her emotional chops were actually surprisingly good. And she was easily the character I cared for the most in this film. Again, I wish these actors were just given a good script, because actually it is a pretty fantastic cast, and if they were given good material, again, it could have been a fantastic film. Overall, Prometheus was a bit of a slog to get through. In terms of a prequel film, it actually tells us very little about what happened before. Even though it's got fantastic direction and good performances, the story really pulls this one down for me. It really pulls it down. To the point where I'm going to have to give this film a 5 out of 10. I was pretty bored for a majority of the runtime. And whilst there were some nice little sequences in there that were really well written, a majority of the 2 hour, I think it was 2 hour long movie, was filler garbage. So in terms of an Alien ranking, this one would slot in at my 4th spot. So last place, Alien 3, Prometheus, Alien Resurrection, which I know is going to be an extremely unpopular opinion, but I just had a lot more fun with Alien Resurrection. It's like Prometheus is like a 5 out of 10, Alien Resurrection is like a 6, but I just had fun with Alien Resurrection. And then the top 2, obviously, Aliens with an 8 out of 10 and Alien with a 9 out of 10. So thank you guys for watching this video. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.